Alright, I need your help. Well, I didn't have any scenario or script. Usually I make a script for my videos. I don't have one for this one because it was a quick video that I needed to make to get your attention because I need some help with a project that I'm working on and I can't do it all by myself, or at least the people that have some knowledge of this and they want to work on this to find the data to have a solution for a problem that I'm having. What I do have is I have 3 pieces of paper where I wrote some stuff down, which I will read off to you now. Well, it's not reading, it's like drawings and stuff like that. I will also fill in the video with some videos and some drawings so you understand what I'm talking about. Also have some stuff on the table that is also coming into the video. We all know that a lot of countries switch from FPS to joules. Well, the problem with this is that we have some theoretical values that we can use. We know what joule creep is, we can calculate that, but there is no real way of testing that theoretical value with a practical test. After a lot of thinking, I think I found a solution, but I'm not the most theoretical guy and a practical test guy, so that's why I'm looking to you. If you know something about that and you see a flaw in my system, please let me know. Get in contact with me so we can work this out and maybe we can finally do this practical test. We know how much joules a rifle shoots because we test it with our FPS meter or joule meter, depending on which one you have, and we know it exactly at the muzzle of your rifle. We don't know what the BB is doing during the travel time until it hits the person, and that's the thing we need to know, which is a safe joule value during that travel time. The way you calculate joule is with the mass of your BB and the speed it is traveling. And that's why we need this. But this hole is way too small for people to shoot through, so you have to find another solution. We tried different meters, it just doesn't work to shoot through a meter, so we had to find a different solution. So maybe first, well, I think we're already at the second one. How does this thing work? Well, in this thing you have 2 sensors. There is a start and a stop, and the FPS meter knows the distance between those sensors. So if you know the travel distance and you know how much time is spent from one sensor to another, you can have a meters per second or FPS value. With that FPS value, if you put in your mass of your BB, you can calculate your joule value. Well, we need to upscale this on a longer distance so we can have an average value. And this is where we need to go. Now, I'm not an expert in all those mechanics. I know a little bit of the basics, but that's about it. So people that know more, please contact me. I would like to know as much as possible to go forward with this. So that was my first point. I needed to explain how this works, so I just did that. And the next thing is we have to build a bigger FPS meter. With the bigger FPS meter, well, the test setting that we want to make, we will have a start that is calculating when the BB starts his travel, and we will have an end plate that calculates the end of the BB traveling. So then we have a time and we have the exact distance, so we can calculate the average speed that it was going. With that speed, we can have the average joule value. Now, if we have that average speed and we have that average time, we can also have a, what's it called? I know it's a delta, and that is, I don't know the English word. It's the time if you take the furthest distance and you subtract the distance one before, you have an area that is smaller, but you also have like the delta T and the delta S. But then you have an average time over a distance of 2 to 5 meters, depending on where you add your targets. And then you can calculate your joule value in that area because you have that time and you have that distance. And with that, we can do that with every average distance where we have put our target, our stop plate. Now, there are a few things that we need to keep in mind if we do a test like this. One, we need to eliminate as much variables as possible, because the only variable that we want to know is how much time is going over when the BB leaves the barrel until it hits the stop plate. That is the time, that is our variable. All the other stuff needs to be fixed. So we need to have a fixed distance, we need to have a fixed FPS exit value, we need to have a fixed rifle, we need to have a fixed BB weight. So all those variables need to be fixed. And for that, you need a few different things. Well, one, I already talked about this. This is our joule or FPS meter. We need this one to eliminate all the weird values, because sometimes we know that a rifle sometimes shoot a little bit hotter, a little bit softer. So with this, we can shoot 10 times and take the 5 average best values. We place this right behind our start stuff that I'm gonna explain in a second. With this, we already eliminate a lot of variables. Now, how can we start the timer when the BB is exiting the barrel? Now, we all know the tracer units, so instead of having a light flashing on the BB, we can just have an Arduino, which I have right here, start the timer, and then we can have a suppressor something. We put some IR sensors in this, we put it on the barrel of our rifle, and this will be our start, because when the line is broken, same as in this meter, the line is broken and the timer starts going. We input this value in our Arduino, and then we have this, a stop plate. Yeah, it's not, I started working on it, but I just don't have the time to finish it, and that's also where I need work. I'm not very good in programming Arduinos. I know the basics. I know it's possible to do it, but if I found somebody that is a lot faster in doing that, that would be awesome. And then we have the stop plate with the piezo element on it, and this just generates a small current that you can also send to Arduino. So if the BB hits the stop plate, it will send a signal to the Arduino to stop the time. And those are actually the only three things that we need to set up this setting. We're already through the first page. So, oh, I already said about the variables. Let me see if I forgot something. So another thing that we need is some kind of a device that we can clamp our rifle, so we're always shooting at the same distance, the same elevation through our setting, because otherwise we're gonna have weird values, and even if you shoot a little bit off on an FPS meter, you can have a different value on your meter. So we need to clamp our rifle into a fixed stuff that exists, where you can put your rifle into it, and we just put the mag in, we take the mag out. And that's also important because then we eliminate a few other variables that we don't have to take into calculation. And then with all those values, we can calculate our, what is it? Delta, I need to look it up, hold on. Okay, so delta is the, is it? Okay, so delta is the difference between two values. Like if you have two distances, the first one is 1, the closest one is 2, between 1 and 2, that's delta. It's the same with time. So if we have our delta time and our delta distance, then we can calculate our delta joules. Well, we can first calculate our delta meters per second or FPS, and then we can calculate our delta joules because we know the weight of the BB. If we all put this in a fancy graph, we should have a variable time graph where we can see how much energy is left in the BB on which distance. Because maybe I didn't say that in the beginning, but if we change the BB weights, we don't know which energy is left. Well, we know it theoretically, but we don't know it in a practical test. How much energy is left and where it's losing its energy throughout the course of the BB when you fired it up to the target where it hits. And then we can have different distances, and with all those variables and all those fixed values put into a table, we can have that joule value up to a few meters accurate, if that makes sense. And that's why I need your help with this, because I'm stuck and I don't have time to make all of this. So I know a few good people that are very good at that, and maybe Quad, I'm looking to you. If you can help me with this, that would be awesome, because I know you have an amazing setting going on. So if you could help me with this, or any other person that is interested in this and can help me with some part of this, let's come together, let's make this happen and have a practical test on joule values. Now, we also did a big joule creep test. I put all the data in the description because I think joule is, it has been proven theoretically, but we need to have some practical tests because that's the thing you do. You first calculate it and then you test it. But the calculation is there, but I don't see that many tests. And if somebody already saw some tests, please let me know so I don't have to go forward with this. So yes, if you can help me with this, I would be very happy with that. And for all the people that are waiting for my IWA video, yes, it is coming, but I wanted to make this video first. And then after this, I can start working on the IWA video and some other videos that are coming in the near future. And with this, I want to wish you a very good day, and I'll see you next week for a new video. Bye! Well, this was actually made for a project where I shoot through the suppressor and this makes a sound. But it can be perfectly diverted to just be a starting thingy for the Arduino. And I already shot the timer a couple of times.